The LSU Tigers are heading to the SEC title game in just the first year of the Brian Kelly era. Got a big win yesterday on the road against Arkansas. It wasn't pretty, it was 13-10, but tough teams find a way to win tough. And we had talked about it a lot going into the week on this program. There was every ingredient in this spot for LSU to have that letdown, to have that hiccup with what seemed like a clear path to get to the SEC title game and to drop this one and everything go crazy. Let's talk about the ingredients. Emotional win last week, just beat Alabama in overtime, going for two. Brian Kelly having some guts. Had a noon kickoff, which for those of you that don't know, as a player, that just kind of messes with your schedule because everything for your pregame routine starts much earlier. You have to get up out of bed. You have to really get this thing revved up a lot quicker than you would like to. And it's cold. It was, I mean, they were icing up the field before the game, or they were trying to de-ice the field rather. Like, it was a lot of bad that wasn't going LSU's way in terms of the external. And some of that maybe leaked through because the offense never really found themselves. But this game to me is a lot like a hot water bottle when you're thirsty. It's not what you want. It doesn't really feel good. It doesn't exactly hit the spot. But when you're thirsty, when you desperately need something to hydrate you, it's what you need. And this game is eventually what LSU needed to, again, clinch their spot to get to Atlanta. This is the Hard Count. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We've had a lot of the LSU faithful join the party. For those of you that have, thank you. If you haven't yet, water's fine. Jump on in. Also, follow me on the social channels at JD Piquel on Twitter and Instagram. We have a lot of interaction there. We have a good time. So, my takeaways from this game. High culture teams can win in a dirty way. Because Brian Kelly was very transparent. We never really found ourselves offensively. He said, you can't win throwing the ball for 85 yards. And that statement, to Brian Kelly's credit, still holds true. Jayden Daniels threw for 86 yards. Just enough to win the game. Josh Williams. I continue to say it with LSU. When they are running the football effectively, they are one of the most dangerous teams in the country. And yes, they didn't have what they wanted off of it in terms of taking shots deep and getting the ball to all their playmakers on the outside. So maybe there was some money left on the table there, but you got to win. And Josh Williams ran for 120 yards, allowed the offense to stay on schedule enough, picked up crucial first downs. Like, what he did for this offense has been such a steady shoulder to lean on these past few games. I can't overstate what he's been for this program enough. But going back to culture, it was a dirty win. I mean, you were 4 for 14 on third down, 7 sacks surrendered. Arkansas changed styles on you offensively. It was Malik Hornsby early in the game, then they went to Fortin. So you were preparing for a quarterback that really was kind of a dual threat and encouraged you with his legs, and they switched to Fortin. And Brian Kelly said it in his post-game press conference. They did some things that we hadn't really practiced as much during the week. You were preparing for a KJ Jefferson, Malik Hornsby type. You get a pocket passer. And you saw they actually ended up getting home on one of those, hit a deep pass that ended up scoring. LSU, for all of the frustration that they were probably experiencing offensively, that never leaked into the psyche of the defense. It's like when you're trying to start a car and you know it's a nice car. You know the offense has done good things before and the defense is holding up their end of the bargain, drive in and drive out. It would have been easy to start pointing fingers, saying, Jayden Daniels, what are you doing? Keishawn Butte, get open, my man. Like, there would have been very much an opportunity for that sort of talk and that kind of poison to seep in. I never saw that once on the LSU sideline. I never saw them for a minute start to get frustrated that the car wasn't starting. Instead, what you had was a lot of those guys, metaphorically, get out of the car, just start pushing. Doesn't matter how we do it. We got to get from point A to point B. Whether we drive this sucker or whether we push it all together up the hill, we got to get there. And you saw that yesterday from this LSU program. Culture, yet again, in year one under Brian Kelly, is showing itself yet again. And the man of the entire game, I like to think, have been ahead of this for a few months now. We talked about him actually during our fall camp intel series talking about LSU, but Harold Perkins is a special player. And that's probably even understating the impact he had yesterday. 4 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, the game clincher. For me, he is the ultimate chess piece for LSU. You can allow him to be man-to-man with whoever their best athlete is, and that can be the equalizer for you. That can be the eraser, because Malik Hornsby is a track star at quarterback. Can throw the ball a little bit too, but you saw at times in this game when he took off, he hit the nitrous quick. And for Harold Perkins to be able to, one, take an angle and be able to chase him down from behind, it's saying something about how special this kid is. You can't overstate what he brings to you as a defense. Like I said, the equalizer. Whoever special player they have on that offense, you have Harold Perkins to try and take that away. And you feel pretty good betting on 40 more often than not. I said it on my Instagram yesterday, right after the game ended, had to get our thoughts out there. Harold Perkins, to me, the only comp that even relatively comes to mind for him is Tyrann Mathieu in terms of the way that he impacts the game. We throw the term playmaker around pretty loosely. Harold Perkins is a playmaker, emphatically, on the defensive side of the football. Like I said, impacts the game like an offensive player would, because wherever he lines up, whether he's in the nickel, whether he's coming off the edge, whether he's lined up more towards the middle of the field, he's behind the quarterback, like wherever he's lined up, you can't help but give your attention to number 40. And the other team has the football. So he's a special player. He's going to do some really special things at LSU in the years to come. He is the reason why LSU won this football game. Made a multitude of plays. They're going to be able to use him in a variety of ways going forward, and he's only a freshman. Just absolutely ridiculous. So sight set, looking forward, like I already mentioned, to open this whole segment, you're playing for an SEC title in year one under Brian Kelly. So remember that whole conversation people were having at the beginning of the season. Brian Kelly, I don't know, is he a fit? I know they did good things in Notre Dame and probably reached their ceiling there, this, that, and the other. But is he a fit? Because there's this whole Southern accent thing that he's bringing to the table that he developed over a plane flight. I don't know if he can be a fit at LSU. Looks like he's a fit to me. Looks like he fits in just fine to me. Looks like that player, I mean, that entire locker room, rather, not just one player, that entire locker room has bought in to what Brian Kelly is preaching there. That whole player culture has bought in just a few short games. He's revamped that whole system, that whole direction of that program. And I got news for you if you're an LSU fan. Good news, actually. I get the feeling this is just the tip of the iceberg, because he's doing it with, maybe you say he's doing it with another coach's recruits. Yes, that may be true, but keep in mind, they brought in a ton of transfers, and they have gotten them all on the same page. They have developed all of that talent in a very short amount of time, or at least gotten that talent to be in a spot that's developed enough to play in this system. Like, you can't say enough good things about Brian Kelly and what he's done in year one. Get the feeling it's only going to get more dangerous for everybody else that's not in Baton Rouge. So again, LSU headed to the SEC title game. They will play Georgia. We'll break it all down here when that game gets here, but the Tigers going to Atlanta. Again, I'm J.D. Piquel. This has been The Hard Count. Nick Brake doing the real heavy lifting. You can help drive the whole operation by subscribing to the program. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at J.D. Piquel. We have a good time there. We're going to keep the party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey y'all, thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.